6, 7, 8, 9. I see 9.
Well,
Oops.
Cindy said she was coming, but she thought she would be late. So I don't know what late means, but
Okay. Scott Flugel said he was going to come.
oh, good. I hope he
Because-
does. Hey,
Because he,
hi Zella.
you came solo?
You can sit here if you want.
Sit here.
Is hopping and bopping.
What?
I have a kid that has to be doing all city track meet at 16. Because of course my life can't be on separate days.
Well, of course not. You're a mom.
Hey,
Well, yeah,
mine are on
yeah.
separate days. They're all just that busy.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Oh, no, it is.
So I'm glad she's going to participate. She had hurt her back when they had first done the whole city track meet stuff. And so she had dropped out of her team relay. And then they're like, oh, we're a shorter person. So she's like, my back is better, I can do it. And then another friend dropped out, and now Raiden is crying because they're a shorter person.
Can't one person run 2 legs?
We'll see. We'll see. It's actually pretty. Yeah, I don't know what this school's gonna do for them. Adventures. What school do your kids go to? Or did they go?
All of them.
All of them. So mine, I've experienced Lincoln, and I have a middle school, which is finishing 6th grade.
I got one at every level.
And I desperately want her to go to distance learning next year, and she does not.
Oh. Oh. And why do you want her to go to distance learning?
Well, today, she tells me a story about a boy called her.
Do you need to sign the thing if you want to comment? Is that what you do? I mean, I don't know.
Nope, I will. I did not sign it.
Oh, hey Cindy. Hey Scott. Oh, cool that you're here. Yeah, that's good. Over this way.
Thanks for coming. Okay, now where is my favorite t-shirt here? Here we go. You know about praying mantises, right? Praying mantises?
Yes.
And what the females do when they mate with the male?
They eat the male.
Most read that t-shirt. I want to buy that t-shirt, but it's $35.
Girls will be girls. That's good. She had this picture of this as a T-shirt. It's the. What do you know what the? Do you know what the female praying mantis
Eats
does?
the male?
Yeah.
She bites the head off while
Yeah.
she's mating with him.
It gets a little confusing for a moment.
I want that t-shirt, but damn it, I'm not. Pay $35.
I know a lot of gardeners that love praying mantis in their yard because they eat a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
They're quite beautiful too. Have you seen it?
I have a great picture of one that I got down
I
at
don't know. Maybe some of them were missing last time, or maybe more. But I'm just gonna, at the public comment, I'm gonna read a little bit from Douglas Ptolemy's book.
Okay.
And I actually made copies of this page, with the stuff I underlined about mosquito fogging, but it also shows a picture of a guy holding dead monarchs. These monarchs, along with thousands of others, were killed by a single mosquito
with a
fogging
macro
event.
lens and not scaring them off. I took all of my pictures with my long lens. All
right.
500 millimeter because I don't want to scare them off.
I also stopped at the at our little garden before this because I dug up this morning 3 stiff goldenrods and stuff. They look pretty sad. What?
Different chemicals.
So I found out he's like this world famous artist.
So,
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if you want this, Scott, but this is the text from my presentation last one.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. So,
I thought they had a new Parks and Rec, remember? I thought they had a new Parks and Rec, remember? New front entrance, I thought that's what it said. But she's not here. None of these people look like that person.
It also affects, because it is synthetic.
synthetic, and it's
Okay.
stronger, yeah.
It's stronger, but it also affects the dragonfly nets.
The what?
The dragonfly nets.
Oh,
larvae.
oh,
So you decrease the population of adult dragonflies. And what I just found out, dragonflies eat anywhere from 50 to 100 mosquito a day.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started for this evening. Well, starting with the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Agenda's been approved. Approval of the last meeting minutes, which everything was up and edited. Motion to approve last meeting minutes, do we have a second? We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes from last meeting have been approved. This is the point that any person wishing to appear, public forum is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address topics in the Park and Rec Board. Will last no longer than 30 minutes in total length, with each presenter getting no more than 5 minutes individually to speak. Topics of discussion are restricted to local Park and Rec topics. And at this point, the Park Board will only listen and not take action on public forum presentations at this time. So, present any information or speak to the board. If anybody wishing to appear.
And I will.
Okay. Hello, I'm Teresa Harzma, and I just want to read a couple sentences from this book, How Can I Help Saving Nature with Your Yard? It's by Douglas Ptolemy, who is an entomologist. He's also written a book called Nature's Best Hope and other books. And so his comments, and I'm commenting on mosquito fogging. He says, mosquito foggers often claim that their fog kills only mosquitoes. That's not so. As I said, it kills all kinds of insects, including the beloved monarch butterfly, fireflies, and all of those pollinators we are trying to protect. Although fogging does kill mosquitoes, it never seems to reach enough adults to control the population. Mosquitoes are notoriously difficult to control in the adult stage. You have to kill 90% of the population to get good control. Fogging kills between 10 and 50% of the adult mosquito population, not even close to the amount required to get control. There's a photo here of a man holding several dead monarchs in his hand, and next to the photo it says, these monarchs, along with thousands of others, were killed by a single mosquito fogging event on Kent Island, Maryland. So I have some copies of that particular page for all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not going to stand. I've been standing way too long today. I'm Scott Flugel. I'm one of the local Minnesota Master Naturalists. I'm also a combat veteran, and that's where I'm coming at from that perspective. My uniforms were soaked in permethrin, which is a synthetic of is what I understand. It's a neurotoxin that kills nerves, even in people. I don't want any more of that. I've had enough. in my own home community, I have to be very, very careful because of what has happened already to me. I don't want to add to it. There is other ways of mitigating mosquitoes. And that is, one is allowing the dragonflies, larvae or nymphs, and other macroinvertebrates to do their job, what they do. They go after the larva of the mosquito. The dragonfly adult will eat 50 to 100 mosquitoes per day. And what we have been noticing is the decline of dragonflies, even here in Steele County, because of lack of food source, because we kill the mosquitoes. And I'm concerned that they'll become endangered. And so there are other ways. The BTI, which is a bacteria that targets mosquito larvae only. They're the dunkers that you put in the water. It doesn't target any other macroinvertebrates. And so, you know, apologize because it is very personal. I may not be walking, I don't know when, but soon. I will not be able to walk around and enjoy all of our parks here. I have to use my scooter. Thank you.
Hi, I really want to thank you very much for bringing up the mosquito spraying again here at your meeting. I truly appreciate your attention to this matter. And just a few more, my phone wants, okay. Just a few more facts about native pollinators versus the beehive commercial bees pollinators. So native pollinators like wild bees, butterflies, birds, other pollinating insects pollinate over 80% of all flowering plants worldwide, including thousands of native and wild species. While in contrast, commercial beehives, honeybees, are managed by beekeepers that target 100% key agricultural crops globally. When comparing their effectiveness, the difference comes down to diversity and specialization. Plant coverage pollinates the vast majority of all plant life native species do in the U.S. alone. In the U.S. alone, there are over 4,000 species of native bees. Specialization. 20% to 45% of native bees are pollen specialists. They evolved alongside specific native plants and specific crops like squash, blueberries, cranberries, and are incredibly efficient at pollinating them. Wild native bees are estimated to be 2 to 3 times more effective at pollinating per individual than a visit from honeybees. So just a little extra to let you know about our native pollinator insects and how important they are to our environment. Thank you. That's my name.
I'm Cindy Fowler. I live in Owatonna, and I'm here with my fellow Owatonna citizens to just say that we're really hoping that you guys look at alternatives to the broadcast spraying. Like I said last time, I think broadcast spraying is old school, and Owatonna is a progressive city, and I really believe you guys will look at alternatives. And I'd like to reiterate, we love to support and get help with the education to try to help citizens understand why we're doing this so that we all have a healthier environment. Thank you.
I'll go. Melissa Zimmerman, 2525 Stony Creek Drive. I just want to point out that the city is working on a $65 million project to get our police and fire new facilities. And one of their main reasons was because of the cancer-causing chemicals on the firefighters' equipment and gear. Yet we can go spray cancer-causing agents around on our kids, on our homes, on our property. if we're willing to invest that kind of money in our firefighters, why aren't we willing to invest that in our community, in our children, in our future? Why are we putting the cancer-causing chemicals on everyone? Thank you.
I don't have anything to say. I know you guys are smart and you understand the basic finances. If you just look at the finances, you'll know which track to go.
All right, well, thank you for those, that were wishing to appear. We're gonna keep rolling down our list, so, not that we're ignoring anything that was said, it's just a matter of, next on the list is the park permit for the Prairie Forge Initiative.
That was only as you know on earlier, a couple weeks ago.
That was emailed to you all individually, separately, that in the process of putting the information in my actually approval report after that.
And Simon Google reference on the process of. In the future, can that be included in the packet?
Sure.
We don't have to remember.
Do we need a motion for that one then?
I'll make a motion to approve the Prairie Forge Initiative park permit.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright, park permit has been approved. That's it for that one, so then, on to old business, mosquito control discussion. So I know, there was some stuff included in our packets that, there was kind of this fact sheet, I don't know, Jesse, you were talking about it. Looks like it got put together in, what, 2024? So it's been out there for a couple of years of what is currently being used. Then I know we had some questions that were presented to you, and you did a nice job of answering those and getting all that information put back together. I don't know how much the park board have had a chance to look through any of this, or if we have questions.
I have some questions,
Okay.
and they may be on here, but since I just read them, they are not. Can you clarify how you determine when to spray or fog?
Yeah, we're out in parks, our staff, and, so we determine, you know, what, and it all depends on how wet of a year it is and all the factors on how well the larvicide work. We use a lot of larvicide in the spring, you had mentioned, the briquettes, we've been doing it for 30+ years. We hit every body of water except for Lake Colmeyer for the Straight River, and, larvicide everything, that's our first line of defense. But we determine it by our staff and calls that come in.
And when you do the larvicide in the spring, you're only doing that in the spring?
Though if we get a lot of rain, we will reapply, but it does last 120 days. It's a slow release.
Did anyone have a chance to talk to Northville to see how their process has gone? And I don't even know how long they've gone without spraying, but what results have they seen?
No, we just called them, just a few towns and asked, and, they don't spray. There's a few towns in the area that spray just for special events, but there's a few towns that spray weekly also around us, so, and then a couple towns that only spray twice a year. So we're average once a year.
When you do the spraying, is it always the full city, or, I mean? how do you work on it?
No, we concentrate on the wooded areas, first. And then if needed, we will do it citywide, but, we don't do any more than we need to do.
Is there any way, or, you say complaints, or anything you complaints?
Yeah.
Do you think that's because there are fewer mosquitoes or because they stopped spraying and were satisfied that it did something?
Probably both.
How often are like this like blood spray used?
Yeah, Mike could answer that a little more. If we're working in there, if anybody's been in there before, if you don't spray a deep product on you, you can't go in there. We do larvicide, there's a few ponds in there, swampy areas that do larvicide, and that helps, but, we've spot sprayed in there a few more times than other areas, but, that's where a lot of the complaints come from, is that area.
So the other thing I do wanna say is, it sounds like in the past, it's been quite a bit more of, doing the fogging or spraying, where, like you have here, the note is, 10 years ago, we sprayed 3 times a year, and since then it's increased drastically, with some years of not even doing any spraying at all.
Yeah. In the past, I'd say maybe a decade ago, we would spray the pre-holidays for sure. And then if there was complaints, more often than that, so we dramatically cut back. It's a little as needed now. There's no set, we're gonna do it no matter what, so we don't get, if anybody's gonna do it. If we don't, see ourselves as well, so.
Are the complaints that you received documented anywhere?
There's some email and text messages and calls, but, we could, document them.
At least I got a record that said it was from, that said people wanting to be sprayed, so you would have to document, we have to have a log of any kind of call or any kind of communication that would come out from either side, just for the sake of documenting what is coming through.
So how was the determination made 10-ish or so years ago to go from spraying over the 3 holidays to just complaint based?
I was in charge about 10 years ago, and so I'm not quite sure, I just, when I started, I didn't feel that we needed to do it unless we really had to, but, I just, don't think that they just determined, like, we're gonna make sure that the citizens are spraying and go in their backyards and outside on parks and trails, and so we're doing it the 3 times a year, but I don't know, maybe Mike knows.
Is more, I think, as we change directors, they have different philosophies on it, so. And I know our director from the past, long-term goals. Different, skills, so that was the. So, but things have changed and obviously, more changes as we go, so.
Do you log like when you spot spray places?
Yes.
Or those are recorded, so-
Anytime that things turn on, is we have. Feet, or if it goes 30 miles,
And the machine has to be calibrated before we can use it. That's why I come,
on that log sheet is also a bunch of stuff that we need to do per our licensing. Temperature, wind direction, wind speed, a lot of, weather factors, all that stuff is all on that documentation.
There's obviously a public communication component to that when you do it. Is that happening all the time, or are you doing smaller spot treatments without the public communication?
The only, we publicize it if we're doing the trails or parks or citywide. If we're doing just a little area that we have to work in, we don't, but we still record everything.
it stay active or?
It depends on the rain, if we get rain after, I don't know, Mike knows more about the running seasonal license, but it depends on the weather after applied.
Like if it rains and it washes away and it's.
There's such fine particles that it's, you know, even the dew will kind of dilute it out as well.
So it could be within a few hours, if you spray 8 to 10 and we get a dewy day, or
The day or
during the
two,
night,
it's hard,
then
it's hard, you know, it's hard to say for sure, but yes, it doesn't take long. If you get rain, it'll do it right out.
And then to clarify, larvicide is only used in water?
Standing water. And then that, you know, the more standing water we have, the sprinkler time, because like the eggs, and the mosquito lay eggs in like the footprints with water in it, and those eggs will last, they'll live for 5 years. And 5 years later, they fill up, it's an absolute, so. They're tough.
So what is the larvicide, just as a film
It's filled with top.
that they can't get their nose out?
So you are doing that everywhere you can.
Every bit of standing.
Every holding pond, every standing water, every slough area, yes, and we've been doing that for, before I was here.
Are there other areas, that are public property that would benefit from that, that you're obviously not?
But there's actually a couple people with their own little ponds that have requested some, and we can, so. And then we have permission from like Cabela's. Their ponds. and stuff like that, so.
So there aren't really any, like,
Retention ponds and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, those are all in.
And some developments aren't city-owned retention ponds, but they've given us permission to put it in there.
so there aren't like targets that you wish I could hit that one and do better.
I mean, there, you know, there's areas like it's not really in town, like the Maple Creek watershed out there. In the cities, you know, they use helicopters, but I don't think that's in the budget, so.
Maybe a drone.
Maybe a drone, I don't know, but, they have 3 helicopters.
Disperse dunks.
3 rivers, so that's how they go areas, so.
does it feel like that is very beneficial? Like that really cuts out a major portion of the mosquito?
I think we didn't do it, we would all say very much. It doesn't, you know, and I would say, you know, we can't get them all, but,
Right.
you know, like I say, 30 footprint, maybe 2,000 acre footprint. And just 4 years later, they just decided they're gonna hatch that thing.
That's why the wet years, that's why they're worse, yeah.
But it's also beneficial when it's wet early, because there's more standing water, and we can treat more of it. So if it's dry, the eggs are just sitting there, and then when the water comes up, there's no way to treat it when it, you know, lets the water stay.
You said that lasts 180.
120 days.
120 days, so that, the idea is to do that, you know, do that again.
Unless we get a ton of rain, and then we'll go out and kind of, we hit it again, it won't be maybe a full application, but some of the areas that weren't wet in the spring, you know, they're wet now.
And we watch the ponds, and if the ponds have made it to their overflow, we'll hit some of them too.
Yes, because it can't run.
It's running
Yeah,
out.
yeah. What is a slow release pond?
We're good, but we don't do the lake, because they won't hatch, they won't lay their eggs on that. Yes, and same with, moving water. So the Maple Creek is there, we don't treat those.
Are there areas in the Straight River that are standing enough? Do you treat those? Okay, so it's just.
Yeah. Yeah, some back there, like in the Hamlet's Woods, there's a few areas that come out of the river that when the water comes up, the flood, and then it comes back up, so we don't play those. You find as much standing water as possible.
Yeah, even if we big slingshot that we can shoot them, football field, get into some of the water, we can't walk through because it's muddy.
Who's the best shot?
Well, that's our main defense though, that we do that first, and hopefully that's all we have to do.
It was 2 years ago, we were spraying off, so, in the river here, so.
From what I've read, it seems like spraying is, it's effective at killing insects, because that's the point, but it's killing the adult mosquitoes that are already out there, and then 3 days later, you have a whole new crop of new mosquitoes, because they
You gotta-
keep coming, so.
Try to get it before they happen.
Yeah.
Is there any other ways to control mosquitoes besides larvicide or spraying and fogging? Is there anything?
Not a lot.
If we didn't do it, homeowners will hire it up. There's a lot of outfits out there that people can hire. But that's about the only way out.
I'm curious to know how many homeowners are, because I know our neighbors pay for mosquito control. Like how many people are doing it on top of, or, you know? Does it make a difference?
And if they're doing it anyway.
Let's kill more.
Any other questions for?
Could we, like, could we see, would it be hard to pull together, like, I'm curious, cause my house backs up the place, and I hear the loggers, you know, and I've always, like, I've heard this, and I've thought, oh, well, it's not a lot, but then it occurs to me that I do hear the loggers back in the woods more often, or I think what I'm hearing is loggers. So I'd be curious, like, how often, just because that's such a concentrated natural area, like, I know it's unusable when we aren't managing it, but I think it's still, it's cool anyway, you know? So, like, I would, so is it possible to like see how often it's actually happening? Can you see that at some point?
Like, yeah, like I said, every time it goes out, it's not, that's.
Okay.
Yeah, there's strict rules that we have to abide by. We can't just do our own little program.
Right.
So what is our charter? We're supposed to make a recommendation to council, or can we keep researching, or?
That is the board's choice, if they would like to make a recommendation, or not make a recommendation.
But
or-
council's not like, we need it by next meeting
No,
or anything?
it's ultimately council decision to do this.
Correct, we're just
If you are
recommending
advisory
on it.
recommending and you can recommend A and they go B and then vice versa, I mean, but it's still the idea of this park board's, ability to make that recommendation if they choose to do so, or somebody in line would like to try to, present a recommendation, but no, there's not a, we must have a decision by whatever. Because currently, as the current stands, we still have the direction of spraying and fogging and doing all the stuff we're doing, so if forever they make change difference, that would just affect Jesse's, Mike's crews of how they would, proceed in the future.
Just to call it that it's not a super large budget impact, the larvicide left. Is that
About
included?
twice as much of larvicide we spend as we do on the block.
But it's not a large number of the city's budget.
No,
Do you have plans to do any spraying?
nothing yet, no, we haven't had a call. Haven't gotten good once, but I know that a few people have seen, but no, I have no plans.
Nancy was back, there's no schedule for,
Yeah.
like other communities. I have one secret right now, on every Wednesday they're spraying, so it's a schedule regardless of what's going on, or. That's
Yeah,
what we're doing here.
Yeah, there's some towns like East said what Seca is 15 times a year, no matter what, they're spraying every Wednesday.
So what we just weekly.
And, some other ones that are weekly. Some don't do it at all, some do it twice a year.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, you're gonna have to see what the right now, it's not, I don't have any issues with being outside.
The city's got a lot of wetland around it. That's probably why they just keep up with it.
Do you not use BTI dunks?
Huh?
Do you not use BTI dunks?
Yes, we do.
So that's
Yeah,
what
they
we've
do.
been talking.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
must have missed
Yeah, the
something.
larvicide, we.
Because they spray, that's different than the BTI
They
dunks.
probably
That's why I'm
will, But they
confused.
probably can't do it much.
So just a reminder from the policy here is people wishing to appear have their chance at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you.
We can't comment anymore.
I was
Yes, to the
confused.
board, that's larvicide is the dumps that we speak of.
Thank you.
That's our main goal is to get, that's our first line of defense.
Well, personally, I mean, is this an opportunity where personally, I would rather we didn't spray. I don't know if there's that much of a benefit with it. If it dissipates that quickly, or do you knock it down and, or knocking everything down. And personally, I wouldn't spray in my yard, and I love being outside, but I just feel like I love bees and I love nature and I love myself and my family and I don't want them being hurt by this. And I'm a believer in no spraying. So that's just my opinion.
I think that it would make sense to intentionally spray less. Not, I understand that. Try not to, or if you don't have to, but I think maybe targeted areas more than citywide. Like, I don't know, I've always thought, since I was a little kid, how effective is it for a pickup truck to be driving around on the street, spraying that, mosquitoes are in the backyard. I understand that it travels, but it just doesn't seem super effective. I mean, the times that it's been done, I can't say I recall a significant improvement in the mosquitoes. I'm sure there is in some areas, but, yeah, whether it's a little stop or, figuring out a way to compromise to, target some of the worst areas if it's needed, when it's needed.
So I know we had a brief conversation a few years ago about like how it's managed, and I thought, oh, it's just targeted, but like as I think about it, I'm like, a lot of targeted places are those natural areas where we have those large populations, we have the flowers, we have the wildflowers. I mean, I was just in Kaplan Woods taking pictures of all the bees working the other day. And so I guess I would like to see, like, we're in a state of, when we look at what we're doing to our environment and to the world, like, we need to start putting our comfort aside and we need to say, if it's a health issue, that makes sense. When it's a true health issue, yes, then we may need to spray. But on the other hand, for comfort, I don't know. I would like to see us not spray in general.
And I think there are guidelines, disease spread and what style, that if it gets to a point where it is a public health concern, then yes, you should spray.
And if that public health concern outweighs the other health concern, the pesticides, we're not supposed to.
Where does that leave us as a board? I mean, I would like to kind of see it, I mean, you had asked for it, like the true quantity of times that it's used, because while citywide, it may be 0 or 1 time a year, how often are you guys having to go back into the woods and be doing work back there? Because at the the same time, I also don't feel to put you guys back there and being alive by mosquitoes is gonna be the best to be able to do the work and retain people to be doing that job either, so, yeah, I would just be interested to see truly what is the quantity of times that it's been used. But as for the rest of the board, are we sitting on this for a little bit and deciding what we wanna do? Are we making a motion now? What do we wanna do?
I think data informs decisions, and I think the data you're requesting, John, could be helpful. I don't know that it'll lead us directly to a decision.
I would like to see that data, for sure, and, regularly, I think maybe annually, I think we could put some more eyes on that. I would also like us to collect data for, complaints.
Yeah.
Mosquito complaints and spraying complaints, whatever complaints there are, the time of, contact is made regarding mosquitoes, and have that document so we can track. For sure, and I think that's maybe separate from any other action. Right now.
Can we ask to hold off on spraying until we have that information and can make a decision whether we want to make a recommendation to the council or?
Well, council is the one making the decision after each other, not so they're, Davey will make a decision after we're gonna spray.
I meant make a decision whether we would make a recommendation,
Right.
that's all. Because I understand.
We're in council works, we don't,
But
don't just say, we're going to spray.
if there were 1,000 mosquito complaints tomorrow,
Yes.
you'd probably think about spraying. It's not like the council has to approve that for you to do that. It's
That's what we're told to do.
Can we make a motion to ask the council to study the issue? I feel like, or we need to come together with more information before.
I got the sense that council was looking for more. Table stance on it. And we're gonna tell that.
And I don't
What
think,
our stance is.
and I don't think we're all enough to, or, you know, to make our recommendation. I don't know.
I feel the same way that I think there's people on the fence of what the next step should be. I would suggest we table this until next month. We get a couple more pieces of data, you know, and over the next month, if we can understand how many complaints are we getting in either direction, understand the quantity that's been used. Because then that also is the, you know, even hearing you guys talk about it, is this a recommendation that, you know, are we discontinuing spraying altogether? Are we allowing Park and Rec to, or parks to, if they're working in there, to still use a spot spray? So I think there's just a little more, a couple more pieces of data in there before we make a final recommendation. Is that fair? So if you wanna.
So to clarify, John, just to make sure, we're looking for collecting mosquito-related complaints, whichever side of the coin you're on, as well as data on how often spraying occurs. So those are specific data points that we're looking for.
So we want to see that the last year worth of.
I think so.
And we haven't used it much in the last few years at all, not even the spot spraying. They just haven't done that bad. But we have it. Really.
So I mean, even if you have the data, if you had, like, last 5 year spreadsheet, or a spreadsheet list.
We do spreadsheets on that.
Using the spreadsheet, awesome, take care of the spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet, we can take care of. But on the last thing, you see we haven't did much over the last few years, you see the last 5 years look like, and you have a general idea.
It's all,
Clipboard.
right here.
Thank you. You bet.
I got him. I didn't wanna. That's one, I copied it, not cooperating.
Oops. Watch out. Successful. My mouth shut the rest for me. Good.
This kind of stuff I'm looking at, what I'm thinking, you know. So this last one, in particular, what kind of growing vertebrates prey on mosquito larvae? You know, because if it's,
But if it has a host plant, or a specific host plant, then you can plant a bunch of those. Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
like
true.
that- I like that
Well,
thinking.
see, that is, macroinvertebrates are in the water.
Right.
And so the adults, like dragonfly.
John and I,
You're still
and I feel a lot of these things are actually things that I have on my personal work plan, and stuff like making sure that we get the wake home and all these different pieces, we know that they have to be altered, but we have to add what it all should be, as well as we've been talking about probably the last 3, 4, maybe 5 months of how do you approach some of these bigger guidelines, bigger plans, bigger items that we want to, be on the forefront, making people like Carter and others be on it, are we on the same path we were last year, or is we're looking at those sorts of things?
Under the May for election of officers, when I've been on previous boards, and so maybe this works different, the month before you have a recommendation, so that coming into the board of officers, you know what to expect. I don't know if that is non-traditional, or,
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think typically it's just been nominated, the night of that we have the elections, because that is also when any of the oncoming board members would be present. So, not knowing.
So your term ends April 3rd.
okay, that I didn't.
So that May 1st would start, so either you get re-up for the next year, if you're gonna do a second term or third term, or you would have a new corporate member come on. Now, in this case, with the reference later on, we're vacant one spot, but so we have to fill it as we go along.
Okay, that makes sense.
A question about April, the review and recommend proposed fees manual. When is that manual due to council? Cause we kinda did it that night and.
It's due, typically, I get it, so it's on the second, council meeting of April, because then it's set up for our, activity guide that then we're kind of wrapped up, not really wrapped up. We've got our first big draft of it ready to go in May, so we already have all our prices and fee structures put in there. And it's applied for the upcoming season. So generally, it's the second week is either April, and then you'll see this again in September and October, the same logic, because there's another fees manual for the next season. So if it's a matter of we need to see it sooner, part of the challenge is that we don't have our activity guide built up yet. So we're kind of squeezing that in, to start our activity guide and being able to say, okay, it's ready for print and that way out.
So if we were to suggest a change or ask you to research rates at other communities, et cetera, would that give you enough time if we meet early April and you have to get it to council mid-April?
We probably end up having to push it to, what we've done, push it to the first, May, on this case, the first May, city council meeting, because then we've got, I would come back, first meeting of May for the park board, as a review and a copy of things.
Cause you need to have that activity guide done by when?
Middle of May is when the first draft goes to the printer. So not today, we just got our second revision back from the printer, and now we're mostly locked in, except that we found a couple of typos. So we'll continue to fix a couple more very minor
would have some flexibility when Marines talk about minor changes that say if you have the wrong date, we would be able to adjust the fee from $1 to $1, you know, things like that. Just not change around the program and those sorts of things. So we have some, regard timelines to work off of, it's just a matter of making sure we have the right things going through.
And sometimes we miss big things in there. When we found we didn't have football in there this year, we took out pictures of that to make sure that we stuck our football information in, because that's one of our big programs.
And the other thing that this follows off of, and right now, this is why I'm really hesitant to make these comments back, because typically our budget season's already started in the middle of May, and we haven't kicked that off yet. So if there's a different timeline with new leadership and how we're gonna approach it, because our budget also is affected by this. So, we already, by mid-May, we've already got things starting to get plugged in, so we're gonna have answers right now. We can make these tweaks because we haven't had any conversation about budget talk other than we internally making sure we have all our stuff lined up. So this year we have a little bit more flexibility because we haven't touched those pieces.
Yeah, but if they cut our budget, and we've already got that fees plan in place, we may end up with a shortfall. If we say, oh, we should have increased the price for baseball $2 per person, and now we don't have the money to do that.
So Janet, to your point as far as asking about it, if we try to get it like by the end of March, knowing how our planning may not be ready for it yet, so we just might have to look at the back end and continue to push back where it's still an April timeline, and then say that as we go a little bit further into May, maybe even early June, is really push it to help us
Yeah,
make that.
just as long as there's
We're going.
some flexibility one way or the other, in the event it isn't an automatic pass through it. This,
Right, yeah, 'cause that's not the expectations, give the feedback, if there's feedback, at least have a conversation on where things are at, why things are where they're at.
yep.
How specific did we wanna get on items that are in here? And so, what I mean by that is, Rock on the Go was one of the ones that we've talked about for like a couple of years now. And while we've said, yeah, we think it's a good idea that Park and Rec could show up and be there and help out potentially, I think that's been a hit or miss probably. But do we wanna add those dates onto something like this and basically scrub those each year, or do we want this just to be the bigger annual items?
Well, my feedback on that one is, maybe we put a bullet item in there saying, we have those dates, rather than listing all the dates on it, we have a list of what those dates are, so we just identify, this Rec on the Go, it's a special event, whatever we, May park board meeting, or whatever park board meeting you guys would like to see, some of that stuff that fits in, then we can say, okay, we need a list of X, you guys know what you want to get to, represent, those sort of things.
Yeah, I think a bullet for each part board specific type event, no matter what that is.
Yeah, so in October, it would be Spooky Pumpkin Trail or whatever. Speaking of those kind of things, one crossed my desk today that was a new one, and that the city administration and communication team asked if Park Board might be interested and willing to help staff or greet the public at the fair booth for the city. So that will be coming to your inboxes probably tomorrow. And that's in August, we're on this list, there's not much there, so having a nice. Since we know you'll be at the fair anyway, right?
So circling back to what we were on, in the same topic but earlier on, so adding to main outreach opportunities as one of our bullet points in that one. I'll add that in there.
On that other page, the other topics section, it says recommendation of your management program, that's on this page because
Because I put on, because it's been conversation in the past, however, that's another one of those, I think city council's driven, so if we had a recommendation that Park Board might want to pass along, but city council's really making the ultimate decision on, are we gonna do this or not? So, It had been in past ones, it hasn't been in more recent years park board agendas. But if that's something that wants to circle back around and provide feedback towards, then I can add it to the list of those.
Wasn't that done in like spring, summertime, from a recommendation, yeah.
Perfect, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we will request the permit to be able to do it, if it's a timeline, but if there's a decision saying we're not doing it, it's like other things. You might be able to get ahead of it, because you got your ducks in a row, but then you decide you're not gonna do that, then they can stop even for that permit, it's more just making sure that we're on the list. Although I don't know, you might know on this part of it, if it gets published in a manual someplace, saying these are all the places that have the deer management, that I can't speak on.
I would like to see the deer management program somewhere on our list, not necessarily an approval of it, but maybe like a recap annually or a summary, or, I know we get updates from everybody on count every month when it's happening, but, just a general thing on.
It's like we do with some of the other, division reports, we can do a deer management report.
Right.
So that would probably be a January timeline, because the deer management has in December.
And then we can add mosquitoes to that list too. We wanna check in regularly on that, or depending on what our plan is.
So I'll add your management report. Are you looking then, Tyler, or anybody else, you don't want just a report of it, do you want to have a bigger discussion prior to that? I'm just making sure I get this right on the, work plan.
I would say start at the report and then we can decide whether it becomes a bigger discussion, because even within that report, you know, is there an opportunity to capture the complaints? Whether one way or the other of, hey, I have 15 deer in my garden every night, versus, you know, oh, we had one that dropped in our front yard that scared kids, right? So, yeah, we'll capture those in both directions.
Can we time that report so it's around the time that it's being approved or scheduled or whatever, so that it's.
I plug it in January, because it ends in December, so by that time, especially when MJ's she's got it pretty well, as the time goes along, so it's just kind of tying loose ends together as far as the numbers. So then I think we can have the report, it's just like we do that in the program. So I'll add that to it, and then we'll see where it takes us. Did you want them to be one or two?
Well, maybe after our next meeting.
Yeah, once
Question
we
more, excellent. Then, again, this
We'll
thing.
make notes, we don't offer it.
Sure. Probably, we're probably gonna want that, that's probably September, October, then. Is we're gonna get us for a report, recap.
I mean, it could go later.
Later. Okay, then, maybe we should just do it.
This might come at maybe later on in more detail, when we get into it more often. Is there anything that we need to discuss before deer season? Cause we have, is the open hunt during deer season?
It's during that timeline that there's another place, yeah. It runs from roughly middle of October sometime through the middle of December. And there is, in my traditional layout, it's there's two seasons for our internal hunt, or our deer management hunt. It runs from October through November, and middle of November through December. And then they have so many hunters that they have to do efficiency tests and all these different things that go with it, and those that pass and get what they need, then they get a lot of certain,
It's a points structure.
it's point structure, they get a lot of, whatever
Determine
place
which
they're on.
spot they get.
Okay.
Yeah, and they get to pick and choose, I want this or that, they have higher points. So if you got the deer management report, recap report, that will help, and give some conversation on it, but if there's more requests further on, it's
I know MJ usually gives us like an update, like September through the end. Like, would it make sense, just, I mean, since this is, if there's turnover and stuff, like, we would have it, like, if we're used to getting that update. September turnover.
I'm gonna add your management update to each one of these months, so the one's the update, the other one's a recap report, so that way we have, I'll run that basically from September, October through, December, they have those 3 months on them. And as we're speaking on this is a side note, you know, this is the kind of agenda logic that we're going with, but hopefully you guys feel open enough to reach out to John or myself, or whatever, if you have requests of things you like on the agenda. That's what we had a conversation about earlier after this board meeting too, is making sure you guys, if you have things that you'd like to see on that, bring it up and see how it fits into the agenda, because we don't want that. I mean, this is gonna help us for annuals, we're not doing all stuff, but there might be random things each year that might want to be part of the discussion.
Yeah, so we're gonna expand upon that, I was gonna wait till the end, but
I'm sorry, Jeff.
since you opened up that can of worms. Yeah, if you guys ever feel that you want something on the agenda, the earlier that you can, let either Eric, myself, or Maureen know, it kinda gets us, then we can kinda gather some of that data beforehand, right? I mean, even with the whole mosquito spraying and having to bring Jesse and Mike, you know, in here to, you know, we can try to gather some of that before instead of have to play this back and forth game. So if you guys ever have anything, feel free to pop an email out to say, hey, I'd like this added, and here's the reason why, and that way we can kind of get ahead of it a little bit too. So, but yeah, you don't have to wait till you show up and, hey, I wanna add this to the agenda, or for next month, we should talk about this. Feel free to send information out.
Can we add the review the work plan to the work plan? Just, we should probably look at it every year.
Like end of the year, or close to end of the year for the next year.
Do you want end of the year as far as calendar, or do you want end of the year as far as the April to the May because of the end of the year of the cycle of a term?
So this is set up to follow the calendar, so I think end of the calendar year makes sense. But I think any way is fine as long as we do it.
There's a lot going on in April and May already.
Yeah.
Not much going on in December, so it would fit well.
That's obviously part of the purpose why we're just trying to get together something we're not missing. Also, there, not sure what it was. Oh, yeah, reviewing of guiding documents.
I'm just gonna say,
Please.
just be prepared.
So if we go back to the second page here, number 2 and number 3, it says establish park board goals. And then it also has review guiding documents, identifying needs and action items, those are what we're referencing of the master plan of action. Some of the bigger plans that are out there, that the group can then say, okay, are we on track, what we're doing, where are we at? You know, because that's part of the vision and the park board, trying to make sure that, well, we had this last year, so that we alter what the plan is, and how does that change, or there's a new policy, or there's a new whatever, branding, you know, we did a few years, how does that fit into the overall everything? So it'd be good to review that. I didn't put a date on it, a month on it, on what it does to the draft, because I'm looking for your guys' feedback on how, when, those sorts of things, you want to see that stuff. And I only added 3 of them on there, there probably could be others that you guys might think of, or might have looked at these, or, but that's at least a starting point. I don't think we want to do all the same month. Let's try to break those down.
I'm relatively new to the whole mix, so I will share with you that I've just been with the city 1 year, and I'm shocked at how long it takes from concept idea to get something through, but know that it doesn't matter what people say, the suggestions that they make. I think way back to many meetings ago when Nan said she really wanted to see an expansion of the hours at the indoor play space, and that is something that we do have planned for the fall season. But because it's so new, we're skeptical to even put it in the activity book, because what if something changes before, you know? So we just tread so carefully with all those various pieces, because you don't know what's gonna happen between now and then with staffing not being.
It's also when things are brought up like that, it is in the back burner of mind of, oh, we can talk about this, how can it fit in? We may not have an opportunity at the time, but when the opportunity comes about, which Marine's talking about, we're like, okay, now we can get 3-4 things with one change, and this is one of the pieces that we can extend. Obviously, it's on our radar, but it's also good to keep you guys' perspective of the visitors and those that know the people. shoot, I'll plug it in, or if you guys wanna look at it again, send a message, email out saying, I'd like to see these move here, or it's good.
Plug them in where they're.
Yeah, I agree.
Those are sort of big picture things that don't have any.
To avoid July, so I think that's a big.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a November or.
So maybe
Well, the nice thing about it being November, it's about 6 months after new members have joined. And say, hey, are we living up to this expectation or are there things to change? That's okay.
So here's what I'm going to do, and we can adjust as we need to. The three that are listed right now, Master Plan Imagine, Ortona 2050, I'll put that one in August, and I'll put Imagine, Ortona in September. And then we have them in place that we can make adjustments as we need to, and if there's other ones that populate up that we can think of, like, oh, we forgot about this one or that one, we can put them in some of these spaces, but I also would like to maybe get these in front of us sooner than later. Be able to start visiting them again, because we haven't had them on our table in kind of last year or two, so it'd be nice to just kind of get a refresh on it.
Could we make that something like new members get in the packet too? So that like they're aware they have it instead of learning about it, you know, the percent.
You know, about the master plan and the other stuff.
Yeah, like
maybe
those.
200 page.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it may not be, yeah.
Okay, maybe not a.
Digital,
maybe not
maybe
a
digital.
copy,
Yeah.
like, we want you to know these exist.
And Marie, maybe that's something that we can add to that list of new board member, checklist or whatever you label that, getting that sent out to them.
And I know Eric and I have talked about it, I think even you and I and Eric had talked, what was the orientation, board member expectations for new people coming on in May? I know that's one that's still being kind of formalized, finalized of, you know, how do we, when a new person comes on, here's the information that they get, here's the understanding of, you know, the park board is an advisory board, right? And a lot of times the things that we make motions on is an advisement to city council, and we're not the end all be all to make that decision. So, but getting some of that more formalized so that like when people come on the board, Carter, I think you're the most recent one that's been added, and it's kind of been trial by fire, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking too, it's a lot to take in, but yeah, it's.
So we know that the need is there, it's something that we're trying to figure out how we develop that, and even for the seat that is open, again, having something ready to, hopefully by the time we have somebody join, you have something that they can take.
I would think that, John, maybe between you and I, and Green or however it is, that once we get that person coming on, we can review, saying, okay, somebody's coming on in a week or two, what do we got, what does it look like, what are we missing? And that way we can at least say, okay, we're building, we already got something put together, but let's get some more eyes on it and review, see what we're missing, how to help onboard somebody a little bit more smoothly and understand.
I think it'd be kind of helpful to make sure everyone gets it once it's done.
Oh, yeah.
Just so we're all on the same page.
Anything else on the annual work plan?
If not, I will update this, and then I'll get it resent back out again to the board just to have it, an updated, fresh version of it, and we can continue to, as we go along, as we look at July, we have permits and like true thing on there, so, my recommendation not to put it in July for one of these other bigger items, so we'll stay away from it.
No, I appreciate your time.
All right, event and park permit process. This is more focused on the process that we're using to send them out. Tyler, I do agree with the comment you made earlier about still having it in the packets, that having a quick reference to, you know, as we're making motions in here. But what are other people's thoughts on park permits, event permits? I know, Carter, you had sent an email about the event permits, about, hey, can we still get that information sent out? I know from a park board standpoint, we don't necessarily do anything with the event permits, but I think it also, to your point, gives us the opportunity to ask questions, or, hey, what about this, if they're doing something, event in one of the parks?
Or at least maybe it's just a fair cause I, hopefully didn't overstep you, but I was like, cause I tried to look it up, cause it's, the information is available online, and when I was doing that, I didn't quite see it, so I didn't know if it fell underneath park or if it fell underneath an event permit, but I felt like if it happened within park, it should be addressed to us in some way that we can see it and know, or at least know where it falls into place, so.
But yeah, in the past, we've had, event permits listed, you on this, maintenance update. But I think it would be helpful just to have, if we're gonna get a copy of the park permit, let's get a copy of the event permit.
So John, I can make it an update, so between park and event permit, so kind of give some background on it, and then we can work through how we want to process. A park permit essentially is, anything that's outside of the ordinary that happens at a park, it doesn't affect any other city function, if it's a street, if it's whatever, maybe it's just happening in the park, so it could be someone wanting to stake a bounce house up, if somebody's using a certain place in the park that is outside of the ordinary that they want to reserve for themselves, that's what a permit would get, that comes across the park board. That permit hits two or more, let's do it that way, different department areas, and when the event permit goes out, it basically goes to department heads to review, department heads and or whoever is helping you vet those, review, and then goes to city council approval. Hence the reason why this comes here, because it's hitting the department heads and others. So what some of you guys already stated, and which I had mentioned before, that it makes sense, even if it does go to the department head for the park board to give some feedback to the department head, if nothing else, on the same logic of what the park was concerned with. So it's more of giving you some understanding difference between the two, but it doesn't necessarily drive how your guys' want and desire of the process needs to go on. Just kind of making sure that the expression card being you on the board and others that might not know about it, but that permit has a different look and feel to it just because of who else it's got to touch.
A great example of that would be when you plan a big event that's gonna close down a street, and you're gonna have food vendors, and you're gonna do this and that, and the other thing. Now you've incorporated streets, fire, safety, all these different things, and yeah, then it really has to be, does it make sense to everybody? Do we have other things going on that might be impacted that day, that street, that area?
So we would still be looking at it on the lens, for the most part, the lens of the park side, but it still wouldn't hurt to see it, give feedback. We may not, we don't run through and say we do approval of it at all, but it's still good that.
Helps us manage our workload. If we need to go set up 50 picnic tables somewhere, then that staff can't be going on, so.
So with that background, I'm just looking for your guys' feedback, and it sounds to me like you guys are looking to see the park end of the event permits just for the sake of nothing else, awareness and potential feedback on what happens with their lawn, if there's cars driving on it, that you get the answers, that's theirs for you, we know that we're protecting our assets in the city, so. I would like more.
Can we keep them digital though, so that we
Yeah.
don't?
So with that process piece of it, like with the park permit, I'm gonna ask, we only have one go through, but with that.
Can you recap what MJ said and what that process is, or what we?
Yeah, essentially, the permit will come through, and MJ will then, she receives them, and she'll send out to the park board, got this permit, these are what's being asked, or what the requests are. Like the last one, she put feedback in there about, the having insurance, and was one of them, I can't remember what it was, but those are like standard by some of those things. So it gives you feedback so you have it, and that way you guys would have a chance to review it and give feedback prior to coming to the park board, in case it's a smaller window, or they have to react to something differently. You can ask the question before, so then MJ on the administrative side can reach out with the questions somebody may have, if there are, before it comes here for a formal vote, or formal approval, I should say. Again, that in the park side, the event side, I don't think it's, we'll come back here for that, maybe for feedback, but still, if you still have this question, you can present on behalf of the park side of these parks examples, because that was out there more recent, of what's happening with vehicles, that are all the driving the grass, you know, how we maintain, how we managing parking, those sort of things. So those questions are really quite, I really question.
And did the process work for that one? more of an SOP is then an operating procedure logical. So, and again, that being a one of the person on the board, that'd be a nice thing to include in that process. So maybe I can work on SOP, but.
I think that's number 12 on the list.
Anything else on the event or park permit process? Alright, park maintenance report.
Page 5 of your packet is the park maintenance report. It should be pretty standard. Because we are lacking our projector that's at the shop, we went away from the security option. So we don't have our parks team with us in a virtual meeting like we might have otherwise.
The dock looks good.
New dock, the new trees.
That new dock curve grant for boom that can cost the city, taxpayers take money on, it's great, it's also a benefit of it, not college, one that, you know, sees one of the ones that are all actually working, and also, some efficiencies that go along with it, plus the kudos to, MJ and Jesse and whoever else is involved in the grant, for that to receive it, so.
I will share that I think they had a little pickup this past week because someone did a memorial bench. And they're very expensive just because they're industrial strength and that sort of thing. But then, the donor is also responsible for the preparation of the location. In this case, it ended up that they had to relocate sprinkler lines and things like that in order to put in the concrete footers. So it turned out to be kind of a, nobody told me that, you know, it's like, well, it's in the contract, but nobody read it, you know, so in case you hear any feedback on things like that, the city can't cover the cost of preparation of the area.
Where was that one?
Pardon?
Where was that one?
I believe that one is, on the West Hills property near, is it, the Rose Garden or something, Marvin's or the wrong Rose Garden? Up in the center of.
Harvey Rodwin, and that garden is in the middle of that park.
In the middle of the parking place, there's a new bench that's going in there, but evidently it was way more work than there was anticipated.
Anything else on the park maintenance report? Rec division updates?
If you guys do any questions or anything, my answer otherwise, try to share ways of this group things. As I said, more information better sometimes, right? It's going.
It's good, these little umbrellas. Insurance will cover them.
That was what was anticipated, but we just couldn't react or look at anything, so, we had the final say from the state.
That timeline seemed a little less than what
We were thinking 6 months out, we didn't think we were gonna make it, this is about 6 to 8 weeks, so, maybe sooner, no, I think if things moving, then we'll get it put in, I mean, it's on the radar of our crew to, once we get them, we're getting pumped up, and we try to strategically put some of the umbrellas up, but one of them is still water, we want to hold the water space outside of it, so I'm not sure how we're gonna get that one, if we do this year.
Soccer just finished, T-ball and baseball will kick off next week, so busy time.
River Springs Water Park sure looks like they're gonna have a busy year.
I think the gal at the front desk today said she thought she sold 8 boarding passes today.
Nice. That's
Yeah, with this weather, that'll be a common place.
Oh, dear.
Looks like a good number of registrations on the games.
Yeah. The funny thing is, we got some camps that are full with waiting lists, the exact same camp, a couple weeks before, haven't quite filled it, just because of the time of year, so we'll see how they fill through, get closer to the seasons, but.
I was noticing that some that aren't full, maybe the week of the fair. I'm like, ooh, maybe that's a mental block for the future.
There's also ones that are earlier on, that we have the same challenges, depending on what the vacations, when you have different, other programs that are going on, stuff, absolutely. Camps and everything else that goes on. Media has a bunch of stuff out there that they can do, so. Lucky people out there.
Anything else for the rec division updates? Alright. The biochar demonstration for me.
You know, more than Nancy.
I did go.
Can we get a demonstration?
No, not unless you have a very large tin or whatever it was. It was everything I expected, just like they explained it would be. For application for us, I'm just not exactly sure of what we would do with it. I mean, it would be nice if we had one that people could rent, if they wanted to use it and give the charcoal to use for planting or whatever, but I don't know, it just didn't seem real practical for us to really pursue unless.
Is the idea that they're selling them?
They do sell them or they rent them out.
Okay.
Yep. Either one. But, I mean, it would take a lot of prep just to get it going, and then what would the city do with the charcoal once it's done? Sell it? I mean.
Sell it, spread it on trails and Kevin Woods or,
Yeah, but on the trails, you don't want it on the trails because it's meant for growth and sustainability for plants and stuff like that. And, yeah, so, I don't know, it just didn't seem very practical for us to really pursue anything with it.
Is it an effective way to get rid of like invasives that they've cut? Are you supposed to do something special with those? So they
Yeah,
don't-
because like buckthorn, it will regenerate from any portion of the plant and the seeds, so yeah, they say, don't compost it,
Right. But you can burn it.
but you can't.
Just right here.
Right. That was my takeaway. It's like, this is nice, but really is it practical for us? Sure.
Does it work?
And it was not really cheap. And what do we do with it? Unless we wanted to rent it out to people to use, but there seems like there might be some liability with that as well. So.
Thanks for checking it out.
It was warm there. Plenty of heat coming off of those.
Alright, regional park destination update.
There hasn't been any updates since the last meeting that we had, I think it was 2 sections that they had identified as being completed on there, and since then we haven't, but, since that time also, Ryan and I have talked a bit about it, I know, Ryan's dinner for stuff, so we might end up meeting, just to kind of have a conversation about how we want to approach the stuff, because there's also, conversation about, trying to get some of the designation money to help offset some costs for the city that might be money available for the designation, so it might be kind of following suit with some of the budget conversations as well, so I'm not sure if that's gonna bring us back in July, have more conversation, more details on them. Kind of hesitant to say that it will, because we've got so much going on in June, but see how that moves forward. But again, I do know some of it's a part on the rec side too, you have to figure out, identify some of the marketing game plan, we might be looking at kind of programming stuff that may go out there, and so I gotta get my team together that's gonna go hard and fast through the summer, so.
Park board seat vacancy.
That one there I just put on because I didn't want that to be lost in conversation, so we actually, get some detail. I had sent out information to, track them for you to continue on to the next term. And this has gotta be posted basically on the website, saying that it's open, and then say that we also have park board open on too, because we've got a couple other boards on there, so that they can pick and choose which one. It just hasn't been, done on there. So I'll continue to request it as, I'm able to push, but,
Is that something that I could put on?
no, it's something that's run through, Jeanette and that side of things, but, and then the mayor's gotta do his portion of it as well, because once we do the applicants, then, the mayor will have to have the interviews with the applicants and whomever else that will sit there, if it's myself, Jesse, or somebody else, that will sit on that, so. So we'll keep, for our sake, John, we'll keep that one on there until we actually get it filled.
Sounds good. Anybody have anything else that they would like to discuss as part of the board? I don't know.
Any update on the rec director? I'm just gonna move fast. That's fine. So it's on the record.
Bring the truck in.
Copy and paste.
And then I hope to see everyone downtown on Thursday.
And Park and Rec is doing
August 6th is the target, and then we also then have the scholarship, committee that will be, having a table next to it. I mean, that's the plan. So, even if we're doing it, this is one of those outreach items that if Park Board would like to be at that table with us, that would be, appreciated. Good to have that out there too, so.
Yeah, it would be good to be notified when there are those opportunities, like the next 2 Thursdays I have company coming, there's no way. Yeah, but any other opportunity would be nice to know what those are ahead of time. Like, I won't remember August 6th.
Yeah, can we have that,
Okay.
like next month's agenda, so we, like the date?
Yeah, so Park Board is only, or Park Rec is only gonna be August 6th, so the city has other ones, so other departments will be hitting those Thursdays, so August 6th would be our date for,
Park Board. Give you some scholarship postcards to hand out.
So, I mean, I'll throw that out there, if there are folks of you, and they just shoot an email, that have interest in being at that table, let me know, and then we can see what we have for numbers, because they're still to see what we had for staff helping fill that spot too. So,
You don't need us.
And then next week is in December too.
Later,
So-
fair.
yeah, a couple weeks later, yeah.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard this, the booth at the fair is changing this year. Up until this year, it's always been in the Great Outdoors Center, or what used to be called the Isaac Walton League Building, and Jenna has made the request that it be in the Four Seasons. And the difference for the requirement is that the Four Seasons building requires that it be staffed all open hours, so it will definitely take more.
Yeah, if you could send a sign-up sheet or something,
Yeah, that's
or
what I-
whatever that takes.
So maybe we add our board, or August 6th, downtown Thursdays as well, as a reminder on.
Right.
there.
So are other boards being asked to help man that table? Okay.
All of the
So is
boards.
admin making a master sign-up sheet or something?
I presume so. There's, somebody new has come on board, Amy Vanderfeld, and she's the person who is helping with some of the communications tasks right now. And yeah, that's what it came from. And I just was unsure, okay, do I send this out immediately to you all? If I'm gonna see you first, or is it better to like introduce it so you know what is this about? So I held off just shooting the email off.
It would be best to have a sign up or something, not just a spreadsheet like Corky's does. We have no idea.
Right.
It might sound cheaty.
Yeah,
just
in the
stuff
past,
like
they
that.
used Sign Up Genius, so you could actually see who was
Yeah.
working which shifts, and it maybe they would say, you know, this day it's all Rockport, this day it's all HRA, or, you know, whatever. So, yeah, could be all sorts of different things, and then we could advertise accordingly, hey, if you want to speak to park board members, they'll be at the fair, Tuesday the 17th, or whatever, it might be.
You guys do a great job. Hang in there.
You make it this evening.
Underwater.
Well, that's why you-
I know.
He is great. Iceberg.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn. No.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?